what's up and welcome. So as I hope you've heard by now, I recently put out a brand new album called Menace, and I've gotten a lot of great compliments and questions about the guitar tone. So I figured I'd just kind of dive into how I got it, and I think you'll be surprised at what I used and how easily the tones could be achieved if you're looking to do something similar. With all the plug-in choices out there, yes, this album was recorded with plugins, no real amps, but with all the choices out there, it can be a little bit overwhelming. But like I always say, I think any of them are usable if, and can sound great if you just put the time in and kind of figure it out. And this is going to be the perfect example of that, because these plugins that I use for this album, for the most part, are absolutely bare bones. You're just kind of limited to what's there in most instances, which we'll see. So anyways, I'm excited to get into it. So the album is 6 songs, and I used the same plugin on every song except for the first track, the title track, Menace. In that one, I used a plugin called Menace. So here we are in the actual Menace session. Sounds a little like this. So yeah, I think that guitar sound is pretty awesome. And here is the Menace plugin. This is a JST Tone Forge plugin, Joey Sturgis Tones. I think it's like $50 or something right now. If you're interested, maybe there's a free trial. I don't know. I got this a long time ago. They sent it to me, and I started just working on the song Menace, and that was kind of the working title for it, and ended up sticking and becoming the name of the album. So you kind of never know with that stuff what working titles are going to be, or song orders, or anything like that until the last minute. It just kind of ended up sticking. But it's a really cool looking plugin, and here it is soloed. So it sounds pretty rockin'. Let's listen to it for real. I'm gonna play through it right now. I have to mute a couple of these mastering or master bus chain plugins that create a lot of delay. Let's see here. Still getting a tiny bit of latency there. Do I have something? Oh, because I muted the wrong one. Check this out. This ATR, these like tape saturation plugins, take up a ton of processing, and so you have to make them inactive if you actually want to play through them. Other ones like this, a lot of them don't take up, and right now I'll have no latency. I know you can't tell whether I'm experiencing latency or not. You only hear it yourself, and it's pretty impossible to play along with when stuff has latency. But anyways, big processor-intensive plugins like that often create a lot of latency. So keep that in mind if you're getting into this recording stuff, or you're doing it and you can't figure out why you're getting all this latency. It could be some super processor-intensive plugin. But typically guitar plugins, there's no noticeable latency really, or there's adjustments that can be made. So I know I'm getting off track here, but I will just say real quick, if you're interested in my session flow, all this kind of stuff, my master bus processing, all that, I have multiple videos in my songwriting and recording tutorials playlist that I'll link for you below. If you want to check these out, you can see exactly how I run everything. It's all super easy and anybody can do it. So that's what this sounds like, right? So actually don't remember exactly how that goes, but you can hear it, how easy that is just with this Menace. And really what I got going on here, feel free to screenshot all these if you're interested in setting it up exactly the same. But I just kind of dialed in what felt right at the time. I don't even know if this is on right now, this overdrive. Just kind of dialed in settings how I normally dial them in here. If it were a real amp, looks like I got a Ooh, a condenser. So that's different. Typically I go with the 57. Again, I set this up a long time ago, so I'm kind of looking at it again with you for the first time in a long time here. So there's a condenser mic on there, tiny bit of EQ adjustments. It looks like a little bit in the upper mid range there. A little bit of compression happening. So you hear on its own, it's pretty darn dry, not a lot of gain. Really no gain at all. But in the mix, it sounds great with the left and right. And that's kind of a little trick there too, that when you have a ton of gain, it creates a lot of saturation. A lot of gain feels good when you're just jamming, but it creates a lot of saturation in a mix. And sometimes if you just dial that back, a lot of that presence and a lot of that gain, it allows the bass and the drums and vocals and other things to come in. So it all depends on what's important to you. If you're just playing guitar and jamming on your own, then you want it to rip and just shred your face off with a lot of gain. I know I do, but a lot of times in the mix, I'll dial back that gain significantly. Let's just see if we can see if there is, what do I got going on here? Gain? Well, I mean, it still looks pretty high, but typically, if I'm rocking, I'll just crank that. And maybe some of you guys have seen that before when I'm checking out demos, especially like the STL stuff. I'm pretty sure I have the gain and presence just absolutely cranked. So that's that. That's the main guitar sound for this particular song, Menace. The solo sound for the leads is the stock Pro Tools 11 free plugin that I used when I first got Pro Tools and my first M-Box back in 2006. This was the only guitar plugin that was in it, and it's just what there was. All the Resurrection demos, Infection demos, were all written on this plugin. And look, it's just at the factory default. For those familiar with Pro Tools, if you've made any changes, then this factory default right here becomes italicized. So you can tell that it's still just the factory default. Listen, here's the leads. So that's just totally stock. Let's just hear, we'll play around a little bit with that. Barely any gain. Sounds totally weak. Also, may want to mention, so like, let's see what kind of processing I have going on. So after that, like I said, it's in its default. I've got some cuts here, just in certain areas, no boosts. And I show exactly how I make these cuts and how I find them in this video right here. So make sure you check that out if you're interested, just to get a lot of that fizziness out of any guitar sound. Pro Q2, what do I have going on here? So this is even inactive right now. When I had this set up, I must have been using a trial or something that's not even active. And then this waves delay, just this box. A little bit of verb just overall. No noise gate whatsoever. You hear that? Shh. It's kind of like a real amp. If I were to bring up this threshold, that goes away. But I didn't even do that, you know? So that's that. The 11th free, just kind of in stock position, is the lead sound for this song, Menace. So now I said that this setup was really only for this song, Menace. Let's move to another song here. Let's go to Sins of Sorrow. Okay, so Sins of Sorrow. every guitar track is just this 11 light, and I did dial it in slightly. Looks like no adjustment to the bass, maybe a little extra gain there, no adjustment to the mids, a little bit extra treble, a little bit of extra presence. Again, still no gate, didn't mess with the master. So just stock. Let me mute these plugins again here. Oh, first, let me just show you what this sounds like. This tune. Put a bit of verb on there. So again, really dry, not a lot of gain, but that helps with articulation. I think you really hear those picks, and that a lot of that trill picking. So just not a lot of gain whatsoever there. And after this one, all I have going on this is a little cut there, around 2.8K. Typically, my cuts are somewhere between 2.5 and 4.5. So you don't want to just set it up exactly the same. You want to kind of like find here to get rid of that fizziness. Again, check out that video on EQing guitars that I showed earlier to see my exact method for how I do that. But that's really the only processing going on in here. So let me just mute these for latency's sake. Pro Tools users make inactive, not just bypass. You have to make it inactive, because if it's bypassed, it's still using up processing. But there it is. So again, that sound right there, love it or hate it, it's just this is stock Pro Tools 11 Lite. It's free with Pro Tools, which Pro Tools is totally free now too. It's called like Pro Tools Intro or Pro Tools First, something like that. Just check out avid.org, just kidding, .com. And you'll see that like you can get just this kind of like light version of Pro Tools, but it still has everything you need, and it's got this. So it just worked, you know? And that's the thing. A lot of the time I won't go into, I think I've said before, oh, this STL Mark Lewis one's gonna be my go-to from now on. And it kind of is, but sometimes it's all about what works in the mix. Like that hum that's going on right now. Let me get rid of that. And then this plugin is on songs 2 through 5. So everything other than Menace. So that's what? Disconnected, No Confession, The Summit, Your Fate, and Sins of Sorrow, tracks 2 through 6, are all just this plugin right here. You can look at the mix window. Let's look at my whole guitar section here. Yep, 11 light, 11 light, 11 light, 11 light, 11 light, 11 light, 11 light. Leads, 11 light, 11 light, 11 light, 11 light. So it just kind of worked at the time. And again, well, I'm spinning my wheels at this point, but sometimes these dry guitar signals are just what works, and it depends on what drum samples you're using, what your bass sounds like, all that kind of stuff. Maybe I skimmed over this. No, I did say this before, Perhaps you just want a guitar plugin and you're not interested in putting it into a mix and going, doing all this kind of stuff and everything. So then maybe these plugins aren't for you. I don't know, maybe they are. Maybe they can be further dialed in to do exactly what you want. But this right here, it sounds pretty good, but if I was just playing by myself, just ripping around and stuff like that, it probably wouldn't be the sound that I would choose to be inspired by. I could write with it and whatever, but if I wanted to be inspired, I'd want to have a super sick guitar tone. So I don't know that this is it for a super sick guitar tone, but in the mix, it kind of worked out right. And that was kind of the point of this, when a lot of you guys will make comments about all sorts of stuff, which are great. And there are certain ones that just spark ideas for me. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go through this and just kind of show off the fact that a saying that I've always liked, that actually TJ Frost, who did my singer from The Elite, who did some guest spots on the Menace album, he told me a long time ago, there's no substitute for the right tool for the job. And I've kept that sentiment with me just really through everything I do in life, from music to building something, or putting up drywall or something, whatever. It's the right tool for the job is always the best way to go. And I believe in finding the right tool for the job rather than thinking there's just one size fits all for everything, So I guess that's going to wrap it up. I appreciate you watching, your interest in Menace. And if you haven't heard Menace yet, please check it out. Of course, it's linked below for you. It's on YouTube here. You can listen for free. It's on Spotify, all that kind of stuff, all the streaming platforms. Got new merchandise available. Not wearing it right now. I am wearing these new Chimera designs. Oh, do you guys get yours? I know they've been shipping. I got mine a little too big. I feel like it's just kind of big. So maybe I'm gonna even give these away. I don't know. Do a little contest or something. I got 3 of them: the This Present Darkness, the Infection, and the Impossibility of Reason. I should have ordered mediums. I got larges, and I don't know. Maybe I need to grow into them a little bit. I tried to put on a little weight for the holidays, and I guess was successful, but I didn't put on enough. So anyways, rambling at this point. If you're not subscribed to the channel, which 65% of you are not, I recently saw in my analytics there. Yeah, it says 35% of the people are subscribed that watch my stuff. What's going on there, guys? Just hit that little subscribe button. Hit that bell so you know when my new videos show up at least once a week, most of the time twice a week. But I appreciate, again, everybody's interest in just watching. Give the video a like if you did like it. And if you want to go even further, I got a Patreon community I'd love for you to check out. Guitar tabs, early looks at almost all my videos, all sorts of cool stuff, cool community vibe. We're chatting about every post. I'm in there talking to everybody, of course, because that's what I like to do. And yeah, I'd love to see you over there, patreon.com/RobArnoldWorld. We got a guitar instructional DVD if you'd like some help with your riffing a little bit more. But I also have a ton of free videos here. I'm part of my guitar lesson series tutorials and with that playlist and everything. So yeah, that's gonna do it. Bye-bye for now.
In the case of death, whispers of silence change like a battered echo. Seconds too late, my hell in depths, damage is weighing up